Hi. Hey, everybody. It's H7. You're listening to SubcultureRadio.com. But enough about me. We have programming, boys, girls, lads, and lasses. We have Leo B. the Lion. Will you please take it away, my friend? Oh.
Boom, boom. It's the Leo B. the Lion show. Boom, boom. Gonna tell you what you need to know. Boom, boom. Now here comes your boy Leo. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Leo B. the Lion coming at you on a fabulous Monday here at Respectable St on Clematis, and brought to you by Subculture Radio. Thank you to the Subculture group for putting this on, for having a studio, and for Rodney's big idea to bring this storefront radio to your eardrums. Let's go. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to be talking to you about the Miami Dolphins preseason week 2 recap. Then I'm going to get into the financial markets for the week. It's for entertainment purposes only, but my background's in finance. I got an MBA from FAU, shout out to the Owls, and my bachelor's from UCF. Go Knights, hashtag charge on. And I'm going to be bringing to you what the markets are looking like, what happened on the market today, what happened in the U.S. today on the financial markets. And then we're going to be getting into, switching gears back to football, we'll be getting into the Tom Brady rumors. Yeah, he went on a little hiatus for about 2 weeks. And where did he go? What did he do? We'll get into those rumors and to see if there's any truth to those rumors. Then we'll get into Lamar Jackson. The whole Lamar Jackson contract situation is peculiar to me because they need to pay him, and I'll tell you why. Then I'll have a clip from Steve Young talking about from one of the greatest quarterbacks and one of the greatest scrambling, most accurate quarterbacks that there's ever been. Steve Young will be talking about why, and I'll be reacting to what Steve Young said about Lamar Jackson. And if we have time permitting, I'm going to be talking to you about a local business deal that recently was pitched to me, or that I read from the South Florida Business Journal, talking about a $100 million deal raised for a UF campus, a new UF campus, University of Florida campus, to go between Datura and Avernia. And it's going to be a new educational campus on Government Hill. That's what they call that area in West Palm Beach. And I'll give you the details, give you a little bit more insight, and to give you a little bit of background about that area so you can kind of get the gist of the details into why Palm Beach County is looking to grant that land over to University of Florida. Now, if you want to follow me or the show, follow me on Instagram at LeoBTheLion87. That's LeoBTheLion87. And follow me on Twitter at LeoBTheLionShow. Look for me on Facebook, on all the socials. I'm on there. I'd be happy to chat with you. If there's something that you disagree with, or something that you want to give me kudos for, or any feedback you want to provide, I'd be happy to debate with you or discuss with you any feedback that you would be able to provide. So let's get into it. My Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Well, the Miami Dolphins played the Las Vegas Raiders on August 20th at 7 p.m. The game was close the whole entire game, and the Raiders ended up winning 15-13. Some things that are bugging me about the game is what everybody's saying about Tua, the quarterback controversy, and the fact that we are now not supporting Tua as we should as Dolphins fans. I've always been a Tua supporter. Back when he was with Alabama, I was a little bit unsure, but then when I saw him come in as a freshman and lead Alabama to replace Jalen Hurts, basically lead Alabama to a national championship over Georgia, and I saw that throw to Devontae Smith in overtime to win the game on sudden death, I knew Tua was going to be good. Then I did some more research on him. I was like, why is he such a good player? Why is he considered to be why should he be the number 1 draft pick? And then we saw Justin Herbert in the same draft, and I never really trusted Justin Herbert because if you look at other Oregon quarterbacks in the past that haven't been as successful are Marcus Mariota and Joey Harrington. So I saw those. I saw Justin Herbert. I say Justin Herbert isn't accurate enough to be an NFL quarterback, and I don't think he's going to be – he's got all the prototypical quarterback stats, like he's 6'5", and he's 200 and something pounds, and he's tall, and he's just got all the prototypical pocket passer skills that you look for. But Tua had the intangibles. Tua was the winner. Tua had a much better record at Alabama than Justin Herbert did at Oregon. And Tua had the legendary status behind him growing up in Hawaii, where his dad raised him. He believed that Tua's name is legendary. His name in Samoan means something to be a legend or something along those lines. And I didn't know this until recently, that Tua is actually right-handed. But his father taught him to throw left-handed when he was a kid. So he's been learning to throw left-handed his whole life. And I don't know if that really makes a difference, right-handed versus left-handed throwing quarterbacks. There's been only a few left-handed quarterbacks that have had a lot of success. But I think that Tua's father wanted to put him on a path to differentiate himself from other quarterbacks. So coming in, we had the Tank for Tua talk, and then towards the end, there was a question of Joe Burrow or Tua or Justin Herbert, and so Tua ended up falling to us, and we got him. We drafted him. So the Dolphins got Tua. I really think that all that Dolphins talk that Skylar Thompson is going to be a star in this league, they just need to pump the brakes. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but those critics need to pump the brakes. He was playing against third-string guys. So another disappointment that I had for the game was that why can't we run the ball? Yeah, preseason is supposed to be vanilla time where you don't show your plays. But I'm a little bit concerned when the first game we only had 47 rushing yards, and now in the second game we have 37 rushing yards, where we only had 4 yards on 8 carries in the first half. Something needs to be looked at. I'm a little bit nervous that, I don't want Mike McDaniel to become that coach that tries to outthink everybody and get too cute and be like Brandon Staley for the Chargers. So I want him to be able to say, okay, this is what we're going to run. This is the scheme. We're going to run the ball, and you try to stop us, and we are successful. Because Tua's offense, I'll just say it right now, Tua's passing game won't be as successful if we don't have a running game. Just simple as that. It's like that in football. If you don't have complementary football where you can run and pass so the defense has to stay off balance, we're going to be in trouble, especially if they can put 2 safeties back. The teams playing against the Chiefs last year, when they had Tyreek Hill, ran the most cover 2 shell. That means where you have 2 deep safeties and you're able to basically cover both halves of the field deep. And so they did that a lot last year. Opposing defenses did that a lot last year with Tyreek Hill. And now that he's on the Dolphins, I looked for them to try it. And if the Dolphins cannot get the running game established, those defenses will just be able to play 2-man under and be able to destroy us if they can stop the run with regular base defense. If they don't have to get into the cover 3, and they don't have to bring that safety down and have 8 men in the box, it's going to be tough for Tua to have the timing to get the players open. So we'll just hope we'll have to try to kill them underneath and then try to break off and try to go for a long touchdown off it's 15-yard slant or off slants and deep ends or deep outs, or comeback routes. But if it comes down to deep posts or double moves, I don't know if we'll have enough time based on us not being able to establish the run. So then it's kind of nerve-wracking, but I trust in Mike McDaniel. I trusted in Coach Flo. but he kind of let me down. I was on WPTV when Coach Flo got fired, saying I was shocked. I was just starting to believe in the team. And yeah, he did have the controversy about the Dolphins tanking, about interviewing Tom Brady and all that stuff. And then he had the accusation that Stephen Ross was going to pay him to tank. However, we saw that was not true, but they did meet with Tom Brady. And it ends up being where I'm glad Coach Flo is no longer the coach, because he couldn't relate to his players. He wasn't a player's coach at all. He believed in discipline. But if you're not Bill Belichick, if you don't have 6 Super Bowls, or if you don't have multiple Super Bowl titles, you can't come in as an NFL coach in 2022 or 2020 even and be a disciplinarian. The players won't build chemistry. The players won't endear themselves to you, because they don't want to be talked to like that. They're professionals. They just want to be told, everybody's a professional there. They want to be told, this is what we need to do, guys, and then give them the space to be able to carry through and be able to follow through. They're all professionals. So you need a coach that's going to be a players type coach that can hold the players accountable, but yet not get into a shouting match or not be able to say my way or the highway. You're not going to, if you start suspending players, for being late to practice, a la Tom Coughlin did in the past, that's a one-way ticket to lose the team. And I'm not saying Tom Coughlin's way worked in the past. That's why the Giants had 2 Super Bowls under him. And that's why the Jaguars got to the AFC Championship under Tom Coughlin. But nowadays, in 2022, you got to have a player's coach. That's why I trusted in McDaniels. Now, Skylar Thompson, I did mention it earlier. He had another great game. He went 20 for 28. In the second game, he came in the second half and went 9 for 10 with 120 yards, a touchdown, and had a 152.1 rating. Tua's stat line for the first 2 series, I think it was the first quarter, he was 6 for 8, 58 yards, and a 94.8 rating. So for him to come out, not have his full O-line, Terron Armstead didn't start, Waddle or Tyreek Hill didn't play, and for him to not have several of his weapons and to not have a full O-line, to be 6 for 8, from what I saw, he had the pocket presence. He tried to make the plays. On that 3rd and 9, if you look at it, well, if you listen to it, since we're on the radio, but if you look at it, Tua was just trying to make a play. Gesicki's route was from the end of the offensive line, and then he went up about 10 yards because it was 3rd and 9, and then tried to do a little in, and he was tied with the defensive back, and Tua threw the ball at him. It hit him in the numbers. However, Gesicki wasn't ready to receive the ball. He was just turning his head around and couldn't get his head around in time. So that leads me to believe it was a good pass. It's just Gesicki needs to be ready for that timing for that ball to get there. Yeah, he tried to throw it into double coverage, but it was still a good, accurate pass. I give Tua a slide on that one. I don't think that's on him. I really think that would be on Gesicki, and the rest would have been history. If he catches that ball and gets the first down, who knows? We might have won the game. Now, Skylar Thompson, he had some good passes. There was a couple passes where they were playing like a cover 2, and he passed it above the corner, but underneath the safety on that side to Eric Ezukama. But what I want to tell all those Dolphins fans, or even maybe people trying to say, oh, Dolphins are op now. I'm a Jets fan. I'm a Bills fan. I'm a Patriots. Dolphins are trash. Okay. And they want you to start Skylar Thompson. Nah. We're going to start Tua, because Skylar Thompson, he was playing against 3rd-string guys, 2nd and 3rd-string guys. At best, he's our 2nd string. At best, he's our backup quarterback instead of Teddy. Because, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, we know what he had. We know what we're going to get with him pretty much. Accurate quarterback. Won't turn the ball over, but he's not really going to. I think we've seen the ceiling for Teddy Bridgewater, where he's not really going to be in the MVP conversation or anything like that. So if we have Skylar Thompson in the backup, God forbid anything happens to Tua, But if Skylar Thompson did have to come in, we could finally see if we have anything in this backup. Since we already know what we're kind of a serviceable backup in Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson could be the number 2 quarterback. And then if anything did happen, God forbid to Tua, he'd be able to fill in those shoes. Now, I mentioned that Skylar Thompson was throwing to Eric Ezukanma, and he was one of my players to watch at the beginning of the year when I previewed the Dolphins offense and I previewed the Dolphins rookies. Eric Ezukanma, in my opinion, is the Dolphins MVP of the preseason so far. He caught a few balls in week 1, but week 2, he went 6 receptions for 114 yards with a 19-yard average. He made some spectacular catches. There was this one play where Skylar Thompson, Ezukanma had one-on-one coverage, and the cornerback was right behind him, and while he's running down the field. Then Skylar Thompson throws it underneath, and Ezukanma has to turn around and use one hand while the other hand is being held down by the corner, use one hand to catch the ball and bring it in, and he did for a first down. He made pro catches against backups. So, he is our MVP, the Dolphins MVP for the preseason. However, I think hopefully he'll make the team. He should be perhaps the 5th receiver or the 4th receiver on our team. But hopefully, if he keeps progressing and keeps showing his reliability in the catching game, let's make him a slot receiver. Let's make him, Cedric Wilson, okay. But let's make him a slot receiver. He's young. He's got Waddle and Tyreek Hill to learn from. Let's put Eric Ezukanma as the slot receiver and see what can be done. And when I say slot receiver, that doesn't mean he can't line up on the outside, because I have a good feeling that Mike McDaniel is going to have those 3 receivers be everywhere on the field. You might see Tyreek Hill in the backfield. You might see Jalen Waddle in the slot on one play, in motion the next play, or be a flanker on the next play, or be a wideout. You might see all those positions played by our wide receivers. We're kind of when you have like a Swiss Army knife of receivers, and not to mention we have Chase Edmonds who can catch out of the backfield. When you have those weapons, you can use them in all different facets, where just like Deebo Samuel was in San Francisco, we have about 3 Deebo Samuels for the Dolphins, and Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. So make that 4 Deebo Samuels. Like I said, I hope he makes the team. I hope he at least makes it on the 5th out of 6 receivers. I think we'll keep 6 receivers, but I hope he makes the team 5th, and then once he gets on the 53-man roster, he can work his way up to the 3rd-string receiver and start his NFL career on a high note. Now, Jason Sanders, another disappointing part of the Miami Dolphins preseason week 2. This is Leo B. the Lion Show coming at you from Radio Respects. Holla at your boy. Follow me, Leo B. the Lion 87 on IG and Leo B. the Lion Show on Twitter. Yo, Jason Sanders, we extended the man's contract, and then he acts like he doesn't know how to kick field goals anymore. We extended his contract before the start of last season, and he kicked for 71%. And just to give you an idea of where that is below average, the average NFL kicker is like 82 to 85% complete field goal conversion. So he was 71%, and we signed him as if he was the best kicker in the league, like Justin Tucker money. And I'm sitting there saying, like, why the hell did we give him Justin Tucker money if he's kicking like damn barefooted kicker from the 40s? Like, what are you doing? Like, it was a 40-something yard kick, and he missed the kick to possibly win the game against the Raiders. And once he missed the kick, I've been unable to watch any Dolphins field goals. So when the regular season starts, I'm going to be sitting there watching the game, and then if there's any field goal opportunities, I'm going to be closing my eyes and I'm just letting my friends tell me if they made it. And I do not trust Jason Sanders whatsoever. We need to get a new kicker. The Dolphins should have gone for it on 4th down. It was 4th and 2. It's the preseason, and you want to end the game on a high note. I know McDaniel probably doesn't care about wins or losses in the preseason, but I still think you should have went for it. Hindsight is 20/20. My girl at the time was saying, "Oh yeah, you should go for it, or they should go for it," and she was right. Shoot, they should have went for it because Jason Sanders missed the field goal and the Dolphins lost 15-13. One more little stat I want to give you is that I was very impressed with Zach Sealer. I found out his name is Sealer, not Seiler, so we're going to correct that. So I'm very impressed with Zach Sealer. He had a sack. He was getting pressure on those guys all day, and I think our D-line is nasty. It's going to be our best unit, even better than the secondary, even better than the wide receiving core. I think our D-line is going to be the unit of choice for the Miami Dolphins all season long, pressuring those quarterbacks. So it was a good performance overall by the team. I give it about a C+, because the missed field goal, we didn't win the game, and there was a lot of players out, so you really couldn't tell. So I say C+, B- for the Dolphins for preseason week 2. So now let's change gears from football and get into the financial markets for the week. Now this is going to be a crazy week because on Friday there's over $1 trillion worth of options set to expire. And if those options expire out of the money, then that money is lost to the financial markets. It's a sunk cost. And so those sellers of the calls are going to be happy, but the buyers of the calls are going to be sad. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of money moving every day on the market, and that does affect your money if you have money invested. Like I said before at the intro, this is just for entertainment, but I'll be letting you know what to look out for on the stock market this week, mainly domestic U.S. markets. I'm not going to quote the Dow because the Dow is a weighted average. It's only the 25 of 25 companies. You don't really get a good estimate of what the greater market is doing by reading the Dow. And something funny is that the MSNBCs, the CNBCs, the Fox Business channels, they always quote the Dow. But the Dow isn't a reliable measure of economic activity or economic actions on the stock market. The S&P 500 is. The S&P is an unweighted index of the 500 companies. Now, would you rather take an average that's weighted from 25 companies, or would you rather take an average that's unweighted from 500 companies? And you get a better idea of, and they're all large cap stocks, so for 500 domestic U.S. stocks. And so you get a better idea of what the market is doing when you're looking at the S&P 500 versus the Dow. And that's just some hashtag free game that Leo Be the Lion is giving you that, I thought everybody knows this stuff. But it turns out, not, people see numbers, and I'm not like this. I'm a numbers guy. So when I see numbers, I'm like, cool, numbers. But when sometimes people see numbers and they get nervous or they get scared. They start seeing percentages. They start hearing about basis points. They start hearing about, the gross domestic product went up or down, and they think it sounds like Chinese. Well, I'm here as Leo Be the Lion Show to show you all the facets of me, to show you all the facets of finance that I can bring to you. Let's just talk about the S&P 500 today. It was down 2.08%, about 90 points, and the market had a rough day today on the markets. The market got slammed, and you ask yourself, what happened? If we do take a look at the Dow, I'll just throw it out there. It was down 800, but the S&P was down 90 and down 2%. So there was two big companies that had earnings today. That was Zoom and Palo Alto Networks. Zoom announced their earnings, and they were able to beat on earnings per share, but they missed on revenue. And so what that kind of gives you an idea of is the market, now that more people are coming back to work, more people are in the office, Zoom isn't as needed anymore. Zoom isn't as in demand as it is anymore. So it's only natural that maybe perhaps the revenue would be reduced in this most recent quarter in Q2. The quarters are January through March, April through June, July through September, October through December. Those are the 4 quarters of the fiscal year that the stock market follows. Now, the VIX, which is the volatility index, can give you a good measure of the stock market of how volatile the market is. This isn't saying like how much the market is going to go up or down. It's talking about the swings in the market. So if you see a volatility index going down, you can expect the market to not have as many ups and down swings, ups and down turns. But if the VIX is going up, you can expect the market to be much crazier from going from, say, like a 15-foot wave to now like a tidal wave, that if the volatility continues to go up. So the VIX was up 17.7% today, and it was at 26. And I want to say the VIX hasn't been this high since the pandemic. And so that's just an idea of how volatile the market is right now, dealing with inflation, dealing with are we in a recession or not, dealing with all the companies that are reporting earnings. Earnings week is usually kind of a volatile time on the market, especially if the companies don't meet their earnings or have earning surprises. Another thing that is affecting the markets today is a strong dollar. The dollar has gone up for the first time ever, is worth 0.99 euros. Historically, euros were about $1.25 per every euro. But now the dollar has strengthened against the euro to now where it's parity, and parity means 1-for-1 exchange. So basically $1 equals €1 now, and that's never happened before. And what that can tell you is that, and what signals you can draw from that, is that a strong dollar, while it might be good for Americans going overseas to spend money, if you're going on a trip to Europe, you're going on a trip to anywhere, the dollar is stronger, so your dollar is going to go farther. However, a strong dollar hurts the stock market, because I want to remind everybody out there that the stock price that you see every day. So today, August 22nd, you saw, let's just say, Disney. Let's say a Disney is $120 a share. So you're sitting there saying, okay, Disney, $120 a share, and I'm just pulling this out of my head. It could be give or take a few dollars here and there, but Disney is $120 a share. What that stock price tells you, that quote tells you, is that the market believes, based on buying and selling, that the stock price of $120 is based off the combination of all of its future cash flows coming in. So from 2022, August 22nd, to the perpetuity, the stock market values Disney's future cash flows at $120 per share. So that basically is saying that the company is worth $120 per share, because we believe that for every share that Disney has in the future, they're going to be able to make it's worth $120 per share. So, Leo, you're getting convoluted, you're getting complicated. Leo be the lion. What does all this mean? What all this means is when the U.S. market has a strong dollar, it can hurt domestic companies. It can hurt future cash flows. But you would say, wait, if it's a strong dollar, everybody's making more money. $20 is stronger now than it was yesterday because it's a stronger dollar. But it's like, no. When companies that are international companies that do business based in the U.S., like Disney is an international company, but they're based in the United States, or Apple or Microsoft, when those companies make profits overseas, say if Disney makes profits at Disney France, and they have it in euros. A month ago, if Disney would have done $1 million in revenue at Disney France, they would have gotten back $120 million. I'm sorry, if they would have done $1 million in euros in France, they would have received $1.2 million in dollars. But now, since the dollar is strengthened against the euro, if they do $1 million in revenue in France, they convert the money to dollars, it's only $1 million. So what I'm trying to say is, as you can see the equation, as the dollar strengthens and the other currencies weaken against the dollar, those domestic companies that make money overseas, when they bring it back and they convert that money back into dollars, it's not as much profit. So anytime the stock market sees future cash flows being reduced or fair trade or free trade being reduced, you can expect a down day on that market. That's just a little tidbit. Anytime you see in the news or on the market that future cash flows are dropping, you can expect that individual stock to drop, or you can expect that market to drop. And people say, "Oh, the economy, this and that, the economy." The stock market, ladies and gentlemen, is not the economy. The stock market is just an indicator of how the greater economy is doing. And more often than not, the stock market is the leading indicator, which shows about 3 to 6 months ahead of time of what the greater economy is going to do. It's a leading indicator. So when you say to yourself, "Oh man, June was a rough month for the market," well, you can expect 3 months down the road, since the market is a leading indicator, 3 or 4 months down the road, that will be reflected in the greater economy once, after showing that it's a leading indicator. So, I just want to run through some things to look for on the market this week. Today we had the new home sales, tomorrow we have new home sales and companies like Intuit, JD.com, Advanced Auto Parts, Dick's, Toll Brothers, Nordstrom, and La-Z-Boy reporting earnings. Now, those are very different markets. So you have some in real estate, you have some in retail, La-Z-Boy retail, Dick's Sporting Goods retail, Advanced Auto Parts retail, JD.com. It's online sales or online education. I'm not sure what JD.com is. I think it's like LegalZoom, kind of one of those things. But you have different sectors. So real estate, I think, is still going to be downtrodden. Real estate is still going to be cooling off a little bit. I'm not going to say it's downtrodden in the Southeast because the real estate is the hottest it's been in years. It's still a buyer's market, but it's less of a buyer's market. It's less of a seller's market, excuse me. And so I expect the new home sales for the month of July to drop. With the interest rate, I really think that the interest rates are inversely affected with prices. So if the interest rate's higher, people can't get as much sales for their home or for new homes in that matter. They might still get the premium because it's a new construction, but with the interest rates being higher, it's probably harder for sales to continue at the same pace that they were because of just the fact of the financial shock that the interest rates caused. And on Wednesday, we have NVIDIA, Salesforce, Royal Bank of Canada, Petco, Williams & Sonoma, and the pending home sales. I personally think the pending home sales will do even worse than the new home sales, because pending home sales, homes that are already on the market and sales that were pending from July, a lot of them have fallen through because of the interest rate increase. The home buyers, prospective home buyers, were no longer able to lock in those low interest rates, and so a lot of pending home sales had to be canceled or the contracts were breached because they're unable to price in the amount of the interest rate hikes. This is a good sign, I think, for the real estate market. I think once the interest rates get high enough, the mass buyers that are buying cash, like BlackRock, all that, they won't be able to purchase. Yeah, they'll be buying cash, but they'll go look for other asset classes that are easier to make margins in. Now, on Thursday, there's going to be TD Bank, Dollar General, Burlington, Peloton, Abercrombie & Fitch. I personally expect Peloton to have another bad quarter. Ever since the pandemic has ended, more people have been getting outside. More people are riding their bikes outside. Why do you need to ride your bike inside? And one more thing I want to add about the stock market or in general is so funny because you can glean what the stock market's going to do by watching stuff around you. So let me explain. All around tax time, when it's around tax time and you see all these license plates being ordered because you see all these people buying new cars, or you see all these trucks being new. And if you notice, oh, those are mostly Fords, or those are mostly Chevys. And yeah, I'm in South Florida, but you can kind of get an idea of what the market is doing based on the things around you. So you could probably expect automakers to do well in sales around tax time if people are using their refund on buying new vehicles. That's just one little thing. Another interest is that you can talk to your friends. Are they buying houses? Are they selling houses? Are they refinancing their house? Because chances are, if your friend groups are doing things, chances are the greater market is doing things. Like, that's how related we all are. So if you see people, oh man, I can't really buy that this week because inflation. Chances are the greater market, most people are having to make adjustments due to inflation. Most people are having to bite the bullet and be like, man, I can't get that Trader Joe's, so I'm going to have to, go to Walmart. That is happening. So you can take that as an investment idea, as to say, okay, I'm going to watch the world around me. I believe in, or you could say, I believe in Apple products, so I'm going to invest in Apple. I believe in Dick's Sporting Goods, so I'm going to invest in Dick's Sporting Goods on the stock market. There's plenty of ways to do your research, and sometimes I find that real deal, Holyfield, like nitty gritty on the street research is better than anything you can get from Jim Cramer, anything you can get from CNBC, anything you can get from Fox Business. Being on the street, and I'm not being out in the street, but being on the street, keeping your ear to the street, and just observing what's going on around you of people's trends can really help you get a better idea and wrap your head around the market of what's going on. And I just think it's going to be a continued down week in the market unless some information comes out that is really good for inflation numbers, but I don't think the inflation detail is going to be out. On Friday, we're going to see the consumer price index and Michigan consumer sentiment. And those are two gauges of the economy, of how consumers feel about the economy going forward, feel about the economy for the month of July. So you can kind of expect weekly Leo Be the Lion show delving into finance, because I want to bring it to the masses. I want to show you things that I thought were common knowledge, but we know that, sometimes you don't know that you don't know. So I'd like to tell you things, and if you can pick up or pick up any tidbits or points of advice that you can use, let me know about it and let me know how you did. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to see some feedback and comment. And if I'm wrong, let me know too, because then I'll be able to talk with you about it and adjust. And it's all about getting better and leveling up, as they say. Now, let's switch it back to football for a minute. And something that I really want to talk about is Tom Brady. And where is Tom Brady? Where in the world is Thomas something Brady? So the rumors are he went on a hiatus to film The Masked Singer. Now, let me just give you the details. So it came out on Twitter as a rumor that said that, one, he's contracted with Fox whenever he retires for a 10-year, $110 million contract. I think it's $300 million, it's something crazy. He's contracted with Fox whenever he retires, so that's one, the Fox partnership. Two, the filming dates of The Masked Singer line up with the time that Tom Brady was gone, or is gone. He's still not in training camp yet. And the third factor is that his coach, Todd Bowles, told the press that he knows Tom Brady will be back and he knows when he'll be back, but they still did include extra days and extra weeks for him to be gone, just in case he decided to stay gone longer. And so that my red flag goes up and says, okay, Tom Brady's been playing professional football for 22 years. This will be his 23rd season. And this is the first time he's ever taken a hiatus away from the team, let alone during the preseason when it's crucial to install the offense and build chemistry with your teammates. So this just makes me feel as if Tom Brady, this is the beginning of the end for Tom Brady. I'm not saying he can't play anymore, but I'm just saying that his heart isn't in it anymore. He's gone around with a chip the size of a redwood forest on his shoulder his whole career, and now all of a sudden he can just leave. He can just go on hiatus for 11 days, and he acts like it's no big deal. I really think that this is the beginning of the end for Tom Brady. If in the middle of the season he's just not feeling it, he might just retire mid-season. He might just say to themselves, it's not worth the work to put in. A lot of players don't retire because they can't do it anymore. Some players retire because they just feel that the effort during the week for practice is not worth putting that effort in. Yeah, they love playing the games, but when it comes down to that grind of practice every day, the film study, the two-a-days, the tackling, the practice, being out in the heat, lifting weights, doing all those regimens, players don't want to do that once they get older. And Tom Brady, I don't know how he's done it for 22 years, but Mr. 45-year-old Tom Brady, it's time for you to retire. And as a Dolphins fan, I'll say good riddance. You're the GOAT. You're the best player, the best quarterback that ever lived. You got 7. You had the Brady bunch, but you wanted to get one more, so you got Alice as number 7. And it's time for you to go. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of the end for Tom Brady. But alas, before coming in to do the show today, to do the Leo B. the Lion show, you're listening to it live. Hey, let me let you know that Tom Brady said he did it for his wife. He went on this hiatus to go on a special private island in the Bahamas with Gisele Bundchen. And I don't blame him, because if Gisele said, come on a private island trip with me, I'm going. But what I think it is she has been vocal in regards to Tom Brady not playing anymore. She's wanted him to retire for a few years now, and is really saying that, you're missing the kids, you're missing time with me, and during the season they probably don't see him. So that's another reason, Tom Brady. You got your model Brazilian wife, you got your kids. Why not retire? You're already the best. What else do you have to accomplish? Now, let's switch it to another AFC team, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens. I'm looking at the camera. What are you doing? You need to sign Lamar Jackson. What are you doing? Sign the man. Listen, I'm going to give you some reasons, and then I'm going to play a quick clip from Steve Young as to why I think that you should listen to Steve Young and the Ravens need to sign him. So let's go ahead and hear what Steve Young has to say on Lamar Jackson.
Robert, you set me up perfectly, because the Baltimore Ravens have doubled down again on being the most sophisticated running game in football. And they have been mowing through regular season opponents for a long time with this most sophisticated running game. My position is they will never get to championship football without a sophisticated passing game. That's not anything to do with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a complete player that is being not trained in being a sophisticated passer. They doubled down again back to all the great things that Lamar does. Great. But until he gets the chance to show that he is a sophisticated passer of the football in a sophisticated passing game that is properly, invested in, which they never have done, to Robert's point just a minute ago. They don't invest in it. They don't teach it. And now you ask them, why isn't he getting paid to be Patrick Mahomes? Because they haven't given him a chance to be Patrick Mahomes. So until they do, Lamar Jackson's damned because of what the Ravens are doing, not because of Lamar Jackson. I can't wait for someone to train Lamar Jackson in a sophisticated passing game. I think he'd be the greatest player in the history of the game. Yeah. But he's being held back by the Ravens year after year because they keep doubling down to this thing that Lamar Jackson is great at. No question. He's the best at that. Yeah. But it's not the championship football that they need to play, and it's not where Lamar Jackson wants to be. I want the full measure, Robert, of who Lamar Jackson is. And the full measure is not being brought forward by the Ravens. And if that's not the case, then get out and find someone who will.
Thank you to H7, engineer/producer extraordinaire, for that clip. Listen, I can't tell you any more than Steve Young, legendary Hall of Fame quarterback. Legendary scrambling one of the most accurate passers, if not the most accurate passer that's ever lived. And he was left-handed, and he could scramble like nobody's business. There was Fran Tarkenton, Steve Young, and then Randall Cunningham, and those were the three main guys that were scramblers before Michael Vick came along and before other quarterbacks came along that were scramblers. But those three quarterbacks, Fran Tarkenton, Randall Cunningham, and Steve Young, growing up, they were scramblers and knew how to run the ball, and they were complete football players. So when Steve Young talks about what it takes to be a complete, sophisticated football player, he knows what it takes. And so when you hear Steve Young saying that the Baltimore Ravens will never be Super Bowl contenders if they can't get Lamar Jackson's passing game right, and that's on the Ravens, I totally agree. I completely agree. Let's look at Lamar Jackson's MVP season. His MVP season, he rushed for 1,200 yards. He threw 36 touchdown passes. He passed for 3127 and had a 66% completion percentage. And we all know, any football fan knows that if you have over a 60% completion percentage, you're a pretty accurate quarterback. And he had a 66% completion percentage. So having Lamar Jackson, it would be such a disservice to the Ravens if they cannot get this deal done. Because if Lamar Jackson becomes a free agent, whatever team he goes to are going to be welcoming him with open arms, and the Ravens are going to be kicking themselves for the next 20 years because Lamar Jackson is only 24 years old. He won the MVP when he was 22 years old. You sit there, he's a Boynton Beach product, local Florida product. Saw him at Louisville. He beat UCF. I was disappointed about that, but Lamar Jackson can play. Lamar Jackson at 24 years old, when most quarterbacks' primes don't even start until they're 30. He's 24. He's already got an MVP season under his belt, and he's brought the Ravens to the playoffs multiple times. He just needs to get those weapons. They need to start putting receivers around him, and they need to get those weapons around him and actually go all in with him, and go all in with him being the franchise quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. The last topic that I want to talk about today is something that has a local flavor. If you are listening via Clematis, at Radio Respects or subcultureradio.com, just know we're a local Florida show, West Palm Beach show, Leo B. the Lion show, broadcasting live here at Respectable St, #Radio Respects. Thank you to Subculture Radio. If you look for Subculture Radio on IG, they're there. Give them a follow, give them a shout out. And there's something going on at Government Hill. So that's 810 Datura Street, if you're not familiar with that area. It's between Datura and Avernia, right on Tamarind, right where the Tri-Rail station is. And that Government Hill now, recently, Palm Beach County agreed to convey 5.03 acres to the University of Florida to develop a school campus. A satellite campus for the University of Florida to actually also house students there and to build the campus in that 5-acre area. In addition, it gives UF 4 years to start building, to get all their ducks in a row. And in the stipulations, in the contract, one of the stipulations is that 60% of the land has to be used for educational purposes. So UF just can't say, oh, we're just going to have student dorms all around there and not have any classes. They got to use that 60% of that land for educational classes and educational classrooms and what have you, educational tech. In addition, with this grant, the UF is also receiving funding they raised $100 million from donors to be able to buy a land that's owned by Jeff Green, which is adjacent to the Government Hill. They're going to be moving the current community services building from Government Hill to 45th Street and Australian. And like I said, UF has 4 years to do something with the land. If the land doesn't get developed in those 4 years, then the Palm Beach County can take back that 5 acres and do with it what they want to. The 5 acres is appraised at $42 million. UF raised $100 million as a kiddie to be able to fund their educational construction. What's interesting also about it is that once the construction goes vertical, UF cannot give that land back to Palm Beach County. So Palm Beach County is kind of protecting their interests and saying that, yeah, we want educational programs to draw people to Palm Beach County, but we can't just live on a dream. Like, you got to do something with that land because it is a blighted land right now. It is kind of an eyesore in that area on Government Hill. So to be able to redevelop that land into an educational institution, I think, is a great opportunity. Another interesting another interesting stipulation in the contract is that 40% of the land can be private commercial, but the types of businesses that can go in the private commercial 40% of the land is restricted to educational correlated businesses or university correlated businesses like coffee shops or bookstores or educational areas like even other businesses like T-shirts and, like I said, bookstores and educational things. They're not going to allow in that area on Government Hill to put tourist items, tourist attractions, or like Top Golf, let's just say, because we understand that, yeah, one of the main drivers of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County is tourism, but we have a tourism development council. The whole downtown area, West Palm Beach, is developed touristically speaking. But that Government Hill is going to be for locals and to be for students and locals that want to incubate small business ideas and want to incubate educational ideas in that Governmental Hill area. And shout out to UF. Like I said, I'm a UCF FAU alum, but shout out to UF for building there. They also have a campus in Jupiter that's more geared towards medical facilities and medical technology, where this campus down here in downtown West Palm Beach is going to be geared toward technology, emerging businesses, small businesses, incubation. And I really think it's going to be a great job, a great opportunity for, one, the city of West Palm Beach, two, the greater county as a whole, and for the area to really revitalize itself, not through gentrification, but through organic growth. It's important to me to always remember the local scene, and that's why I wanted to tell you about that. I work for Palm Beach County. I know some of you have seen my logo. Hold on, we get it right. In fixed assets. So a week before the South Florida Business Journal had this article on UF, I had to approve the land being conveyed to the University of Florida. So I had to go and look up the assets. Okay, which assets does Palm Beach County have? Which plots of land does Palm Beach County have? And let me pull the records and put that on the agenda item so that agenda item could go before the board and the agenda item could be approved. And that agenda item is set to go September 1st to the board. And so UF is now preliminarily inking the deal with Palm Beach County to have the educational campus there and to be able to start a little educational hub down here. In downtown West Palm Beach, we have PBAU, Palm Beach Atlantic University, which is a private university. We have University of Florida. We also have Kaiser University close in West Palm Beach. We have FAU, the North Campus. We have Boca Raton campus for FAU. And I'm almost positive there's a few more. Oh, I think we also have Florida State in here somewhere. And if you know, please comment or give me some feedback as to what other schools have what other universities have their campus or a footprint in Palm Beach County. I wonder if University of Miami does. I'm not completely positive. I think UCF has one little local thing. I know we have the alumni chapter. Shout out to UCF Knights. Can't wait till the season starts. Going to try and go to some alumni chapter games. Let's get it. PBC alumni, UCF alumni chapter if you want to follow on Facebook. And I'm excited for the development that Palm Beach County has coming. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, we could be entering a recession. But as long as you see the job numbers stay strong, as long as you see the housing market continue to churn, there won't be as big of a recession as there was last time. I hate to break it, because I rent. I would love to save enough money one day to be able to own a house. Prices are exorbitant down here, where we have some places where condos, little as 2 years ago, were going for 1,000 square foot condo, or a 900 square foot condo as a 2-1 was selling for $110,000. Well, now they're selling for $190,000 to $200,000, and that's just not feasible for regular Joes and Janes to do. So, what I hope is that we're not going to see a housing downturn unless. Well, just to give you a quick insight, we got about 2 more minutes, but just to give you a quick reason why the last recession happened is because there was this thing called mortgage-backed securities, and I'll be able to explain it on another show. But mortgage-backed securities are basically this. They basically say there's 100 families. Each of those families bought a house using a mortgage. Those mortgages are all then sold the day that they close. The next day, the bank takes all those mortgages and packages them into a thing called a mortgage-backed security, and which is a derivative. And we can get into more of that later or on another show. But mortgage-backed securities of all of these mortgages failed. So basically, when you have the underlying mortgages fail because people were no longer able to afford their monthly payments, when you have all those fails, the value of the security that's backed by all these mortgages goes to zero. So it was just an avalanche effect of you had all these people defaulting on their mortgages, and then all the people that invested in the stocks of the mortgages dropped, and so many people lost their money and lost their ass in the Great Recession of 2008. This recession won't be the same because, one, we have high employment. We have record numbers of employment, and the thing that's propping up the housing market isn't subprime mortgages. It's actual, vetted mortgages and cash. So if those start to default, those won't have as big of a ripple effect on the market than mortgage-backed securities did in 2008. So this is your boy Leo B. the Lion, bringing to you the latest sports, business, finance news on a weekly basis, weekdays, Mondays, 5 to 6 on subcultureradio.com. If you go to subcultureradio.com and you scroll down to the middle, you'll see a YouTube link with YouTube Live. Don't worry about that just yet. We're still working the kinks out on that. But there's a little sound bar where you can press play and hear what's being played live on subcultureradio.com. So if you go on during Mondays from 5 to 6, you'll hear my beautiful voice. You'll hear the dulcet tones of Leo B. the Lion. And I'll be happy to discuss with you on my IG or Twitter. You can follow me at Leo B. the Lion 87 or on Twitter at Leo B. the Lion Show. Or I have my YouTube channel, Leo B. the Lion. It's really easy. Just call me Leo B. the Lion, or you can call me Leo, but just don't call me late for dinner. I'm getting hungry. Well, this has been a wonderful time. If you have any questions about the stock market or sports or anything I talked about today, I'd be happy to discuss it with you on any of the socials or YouTube. And I hope everybody has a great week. Good luck. And Leo B. the Lion signing off.